What's wrong with being colorblind? You know, we live in an age of Black Lives Matter, of widespread civil unrest over the issue of racial, a lack of racial harmony in our culture. But I want you to understand something. The goals, the end result, what we're looking for has changed. And it's not just changed because people on one side of the equation have sought to change them. Here's what I mean. And by the way, the answer to the question, what's wrong with being colorblind, is not a blessed thing. It is a strange thing indeed to live in a world where, making this affirmation, I look forward to the day when all people are judged not by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. Paraphrasing Martin Luther King Jr. himself in his famous speech at the mall in Washington, the I Have a Dream speech. I look forward to the day, I dream of a day when my children, all men, will be judged by the content of their character, but not the color of their skin. To affirm that is to be accused of being racist. No, colorblind's bad. What you need to do, whatever melanin level you have, what you need to do is you need to be acutely conscious of that issue. Why? Well, the argument is that to be colorblind is to be racism blind. That is, if you're colorblind, you won't notice that people are being victimized by racism. And so what we're supposed to do is increase our consciousness of that which distinguishes us, again, in terms of melanin levels in our skin. Which reminds me, by the way, there's another poet and hero who also spoke to this issue many decades ago, who said that he looked forward to the day when the color of a man's skin was of no more significance than the color of his eyes. That was Bob Marley, by the way. Friends, I don't at all want to dispute that racism still exists. I don't want to dispute that people suffer from it. But I will dispute the question of what the solution is. And I'm going to stand with Bob Marley and stand with Martin Luther King Jr. and say, in fact, the solution is color blindness. I don't want to, I don't need to draw conclusions about individual people based on the color of their skin. I don't want people doing that to me, and I don't want people doing that to anyone else. And the idea that whiteness is a problem is a problem. In fact, it is racism. I know even before we got to this place, we came to the place where people are seriously affirming that racism is a one-way street, that only people of color can be victims of racism, and only white people can be guilty of racism. Hogwash. Let me be very, very clear. The only way to push back and to fight racism faithfully and diligently is to be colorblind. Even though saying that makes those who have embraced intersectionality or critical race theory, even though it makes them mad as a hornet. We don't combat racism by making sure no one accuses us of racism or that no one gets upset. We combat racism by not being racist, which means being colorblind.